Hi everyone, here we are at the Culinary Public Library again. Going to have some more fun with plants today. Today we'll talk about the culinary herb rosemary. This is one of my favorite herbs, second only to basil. Rosemary has been used by human beings for thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians used it in their burial rituals, and the ancient Romans and Greeks used it, and also for medicinal purposes, just not for eating. It was in the monks' monastery gardens during the Middle Ages, and it came to the New World with the settlers who came. It's native to the Mediterranean, and I was lucky enough to go to California a few years ago, where I was walking down a nice town road, and I noticed there was a whole hedge of rosemary, and the aroma was just wonderful, and I knew I wasn't in Danielson anymore. So we can't grow rosemary year-round here in Danielson because it gets too cold in the winter, but we can grow it in a pot. During the summer, this will be outside on the deck like it was last summer at my house. I brought it in this winter. It's really gotten a little floppy. It did pretty well this winter. I wish you could smell it. It's just like piney, refreshing, invigorating, and actually in the language of flowers, rosemary is for remembrance. It has a strong connotation through the ages of being good for memory. What we'll do here today is trim this guy up. I'm going to save the trimmings, put them in this bag. I'll explain as I'm doing it. So, oops. We'll just take off the tips. You can trim up to 1/3 of the plant at one time, and it will grow back. In fact, trimming it will stimulate it to put out more growth. So as I'm doing this, I'm putting it into a paper bag, and I'll leave it in the bag for a couple days, shake it around a little bit, and it'll dry up very nicely in there. Strip the little needle parts off the stems after it's dry, and put it in a glass jar, and I'll have dried rosemary to last me quite a while. You can also use the fresh rosemary. If you're using fresh, you should use 3 times as much as the dry. It's good with meats like pork and lamb. It's also good with potatoes and vegetables. You can be a little more generous with the meat dishes because it's a very pungent herb and it might overpower your vegetable dishes. All right, I probably should take some more of this off, but for this demonstration, I'll just tell you to trim some more of the tips. I'm going to repot this plant too. I'm putting it in this nice big plastic pot. Some people aren't a fan of the plastic pot, but on my deck this summer, this is going to get extremely hot and dry. And if it were in a nice clay pot, I would have to water it a couple times a day. The only thing I'm really making sure of is that there's drainage in this pot so that extra water will come through and the plant won't get too soppy. So let's see how this will work. Oh, it came right out. Can you see how root bound it is? It needs a new pot. Before I put it into the new pot, I'll take my trusty knife and cut right down through those roots. Cutting the roots is actually easier on the plant than trying to pull them apart. The reason I'm cutting and pulling is to give the roots new places to grow. I'm going to spread them out a little bit when I put it in the pot. So I already put some soil in the pot. In goes the rosemary. And then I'll fill up around the edges with potting soil. when I'm done, I'll give it some water. When I water it in the summertime, I'll make sure I put enough water into the plant so that the water drains out the bottom. You don't want to just water the top. You want all the roots to be able to get the moisture. So as I said, I'll trim some more of this off before I put it outside. I'm going to wait until the weather gets up till it's reliably in the 60s during the day and maybe down into the 50s at night. And also, I'm not just going to take it and put it out there and leave it there. I'll take it out and put it in a shady, kind of a sheltered place for a couple of days and gradually move it to the sunny deck so it doesn't get too shocked. We have lots of nice books here at the library about herbs. This one has a section on rosemary. It has recipes and tells you how to plant it. It says a little bit about the history. It says here that in the Middle Ages in Britain, sprigs of rosemary were dipped in gold and tied with ribbon as a keepsake for wedding guests, and the herb was a traditional gift on New Year's Day. Also, I have a quote here from Therapeutic Advances in Psychopharmacology. Psychopharmacology. The aroma from rosemary can improve a person's concentration, performance, speed, and accuracy, and to a lesser extent, their mood. I'm going to put a sprig behind my ear, and hopefully I will become much more concentrated and speedy, and just my mood will be improved, as I hope yours are too. So thank you.